In today's Leeds news, new deal for Chambers, no implosion at Leeds, Farke's message to Gray, Interplan Gnonto move, Leeds will make a move for Solomon in the summer, and Premier League gap piles on pressure. Morning folks, Stu here at The View, Tuesday morning the 11th of March with your Leeds United news. Hope you're having a good week so far. A bit of stuff to get stuck into today, so we won't hang around too long. Just really quickly, just to let you know, there has been an issue with some people saying they're not seeing videos on the channel popping up. So if that is the case with you, the best way to get around that is the little notification bell that's there on the channel. It'll just let you know when a video goes live. So at the moment, Twitter's not working properly. There was a hack yesterday on it, and there are issues with the YouTube algorithm as well over the last couple of days. So if you're having an issue finding the videos, just click the bell icon. You'll get updated when they do happen. There will be a live stream tonight at 7:30. Myself and Paul from Leeds Therapy looking ahead to the game on Wednesday night. But we'll crack on right now and get into the news. And we'll start off with a new deal for Sam Chambers at the club. And yesterday afternoon, Leeds United released information of the first senior contract signing of the season. And that was Sam Chambers being locked down to a 3-year deal at the club. As I say, Sam Chambers signed the deal at the club that will run until the summer of 2028. And the contract came on Sam's 18th birthday, as he couldn't sign it before then, but a double celebration for the breakthrough youngster this season. A statement from Leeds United on the contract signing read as follows. Leeds United are pleased to announce Sam Chambers has signed a new contract with the club to remain at Ellen Road until the summer of 2028. Everyone at Leeds United would like to congratulate Sam on signing the new contract, and we now look forward to seeing his future develop with the club. Chambers made his debut earlier on this season against Plymouth Argyle before starting the game against Millwall and having a pretty decent first half, and there is very much a young talent in there. But the futures of Josh Gilavogi, Sam Byram and Junior Firpo also came up during the press conference yesterday. As one has signed a contract, what's next for these three players? And Farke had the following to say on their contract statuses. There is no time to waste energy about individuals or what happens in the next 6 months. We'll have some proper conversations when it's time to do this. Farke likely leaning into the fact that Leeds will need to know what division they're playing in next season for the likes of Firpo specifically, what kind of contract they can offer him should they decide to offer him a contract. Nothing on the table right now for any of those three players. But great news for Sam Chambers. Congratulations to Sam. Very much a hot prospect at the club. Give him a bit of time. We'll see how he gets on. But let's move on and talk about, I suppose, a potential implosion at Leeds, similar to what we saw last year. Daniel Farke has been speaking about this, and after the last two results for Leeds, there is some obvious anxiety floating around the fan base, and we've seen this movie before and we know what happens. But Daniel Farke was speaking yesterday, and he said there will be no implosion similar to what we saw at the back end of last season. Leeds' 17-game unbeaten run came to an end at the weekend, and these things happen in football. You win some, you lose some. Leeds were always likely to drop points. I just don't think anyone thought we dropped them as quickly as we did into the clubs that we did. But Leeds' cushion is now just goal difference. And speaking on the topic of an implosion, Daniel Farke said the following. No, there won't be an implosion. Performance-wise, it's exactly what you have to deliver in such difficult away games to create this amount of chances. I want to see one team who has created more chances than us here today. It's just simply putting those chances to bed. I'd worry if Joe Peru and Junior Firpo had proven that they can't score in these situations. Then I'd panic. I know we can be much more effective, much better, but you have to prove it each and every day. Crazy load right now. Difficult upcoming games. We don't take anything for granted. We know if we want to finish in the top positions, we have to show consistency over 46 games. It never comes easy. It's always going to go down to the wire. It's a tough road. Farke did speak about the 2 years he got promoted with Norwich City, and said that he never got promoted in February or March, and that this is a longer road and we have to maintain the course. But he's putting it down to just one of those days that we each created the chances and didn't score them. Had they put a few away, had Joe Peru scored probably the two open enough goals, then Leeds would have probably won that game had they been given the penalty as well. It's a different story, but they didn't. And the story wasn't different, but we'll have to see if we can rectify that on Wednesday night. But Farke was also talking about the future of Harry Gray and spoke at length about this. And Harry has been training with the Leeds United first team as part of his development right now. And Farke is taking the slowly approach when it comes to the future of Harry Gray. Farke says that Harry Gray and Sam Chambers are in the same bracket and both have huge potential for the future of Leeds United. And speaking on Harry Gray's future and what we can expect from him, Farke said the following. With Harry Gray, before a player really makes his first step into the spotlight, I'm always careful about praising him too much. He's with us now, he trains well and develops well. He's been back in training for several weeks and is progressing We will look carefully and we won't rush it too much. We're happy that we have him. He is in the category with Sam Chambers, who can play an important part of Leeds United's future. In future, yes, but not the present and not right now for Leeds, not today, and patience is needed on both Gray and Chambers' future to see if their full breakthrough potential happens and they become regulars in the Leeds United matchday squad. That's the first thing to do, and the second thing is to get on the park after that, but we'll see how they get on. Both doing very well for Leeds United under 21s this season as well. Plenty of time for both those players. We'll have to see how they get on. Moving on, let's talk about the future of Wilfried Gnonto, and it was always likely to pop up at some point, and here it is. The future of Wilfried Gnonto is very much back in the spotlight after reports in Italy today claimed that Inter Milan have interest in bringing the player back to his home nation. Gnonto started the season in really strong form for Leeds United, but as the season's gone on, Gnonto's minutes and his form have both equally dipped, and Gnonto has had to settle for limited minutes off the bench for Leeds in the second half of the season so far. But Gnonto's attitude and his demeanour have actually been praised. We haven't seen a sulk or a player who doesn't look happy at the club, and he's been getting on with things and looked very much to be part of the squad and enjoying the road up until the last couple of games. But reports in Italy today may give us some insight into what's going on behind the scenes with Gnonto. Interlive.it have linked Gnonto with a return to Italy and claim the young attacker's old agent has proposed a move for Gnonto. Gnonto did change his agency last season after his then agent, who was also the same agent as Nicolo Zaniolo, advised Gnonto to make himself unavailable games to force a move to then interested parties Everton. It didn't happen, he didn't get the move, and Gnonto subsequently changed agents after bad advice had been given to the player. It's interesting to see that that agent is now the one that is proposing the move for Wilfried Gnonto. The report claims, though, that Inter are not very hot on Wilfried Gnonto right now, and that is just due to the lack of game time that he has had. But Gnonto would find it very hard to turn down a move to Inter should it make itself available in the summer. And Inter Milan are set to be maintaining an interest in the player and monitoring the situation of Wilfried Gnonto. With Manor Solomon and Brendan Aronson both in a bit of a dip in form right now, Wilfried Gnonto could see himself come back into the starting lineup for the Millwall game, and that might give him a chance to try and get back in Daniel Farke's starting plans for the run into the season, and then maybe put him in the window for a move in the summer. But his future very much up in the air right now. If Leeds do get promoted and he's not part of the starting 11, what do Leeds do with him next season? If they don't get promoted, he'll likely move anyway. So let me know down below in the comments what you would do with the Wilfried Gnonto situation. Is it a case of just him needing more game time right now? Does he come back in for the Millwall game? I'd love to know what everyone thinks. But let's move on and talk about Manor Solomon. And we've known for quite some time that Leeds are happy with the overall performances of Manor Solomon this season. But fresh reports this morning state that Leeds will make a move for him permanently in the summer. Reports today from the Mirror claim that Leeds have already made contact with Spurs and informed Tottenham that they want to make the move permanent as soon as the summer window opens. That move, though, is caveated by the obvious statement of Leeds would need to have Premier League football first and foremost, and that will what we'll have to wait and see on. The report doesn't mention a fee, but does state that Tottenham Hotspur themselves would be open to allowing Solomon to leave on a permanent basis. Solomon's dip in form isn't coming at the ideal time for him or for Leeds right now to secure any kind of a move away from the club, but if he can recapture his mid-season form, it would be a pretty smart and wise move for Leeds to make that deal permanent. If he doesn't capture that form, Leeds have the opportunity to move away from that, look at other options coming into the summer. But yeah, it's an interesting one that Leeds would like to make that move permanent, but not until a Premier League return is confirmed. Moving on, let's talk about the final story of today, and this is the growing gap that's now been backed up by some significant data between the EFL Championship and the English Premier League. As mentioned recently, the gap between the EFL and the Premier League is said to be growing, and a financial claim by EFL chairman Rick Parry today shows how much pressure it's putting on Championship clubs to get up, and even harder to stay up. This season will likely see back-to-back years where the three teams promoted to the Premier League all return to the Championship at the first time of asking. And Parry said that the financial gap is growing and putting increasing pressure on clubs trying to get into the Premier League. Parry was speaking to Football Daily, and he said that when they spoke to the Premier League back in the 1992-1993 season, the difference in income between the Championship and the Premier League was £11 million. He said that gap is now £3.3 billion of a gap, and he said that the gap has become a chasm. We all know that there's extra pressure on Leeds United this season to get promoted due to the decreasing in the parachute payments. Next season, if Leeds don't get up, the likely fire sale from a wage budget perspective will be needed for the club. This again shows that gap there and the finances that's needed to get into the Premier League, and then more importantly to stay there. So if Leeds can't get there this year and stay there beyond that, it might become an even harder task to ever get back to the Premier League, or at least get back and be able to maintain your future in the top tier of English football. So it's an interesting one to see. We all can see with the eye test that gap is getting bigger, but that financial gap, £11 million of a gap in 93, 10 years later, better part of 10 years later, it's £3.3 billion. So it's a significant gap, and one that Leeds just want to bypass, get out of this league this year and then not worry about it. But we'll have to see if we can get a bit of a bounce back against Millwall tomorrow night. But we will have a preview to that game tonight, myself and Paul from Leeds Derby, possibly somebody else as well, waiting to be confirmed. And we will have also a St. Patrick's Day live stream with some Irish Leeds United podcasters and YouTubers as well. Maybe a special guest that we're trying to lock down right now. We can check that out at a later date. Folks, thanks for supporting the channel as always, and I will see you tonight for the live stream and tomorrow morning for more Leeds news. Enjoy the rest of your day. See ya. Bye.